Hello, Hannah. Soul Dr. Nick here. And today is February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2025. And this is mirror work, day one. And I'm practicing because I'm practicing looking at myself this time in the mirror. And mirror work, seeing myself, noticing it all, and then inviting you to be part of the mirror, but also not, because this is really for me. I'm posting these long form videos because it's a practice. It's a practice to be seen, it's a practice to see. And that's what I want to try right now. Practicing a different level of transparency. And taking a breath and pausing and noticing. And doing all these silly things sometimes just to actually get into myself, to help you let go of this going. If you're watching this going, okay, this isn't the video of Nick's that I really want to watch. And part of it's probably trying to push you away going, all right, don't watch this. That's all good. That's my work, is to not actually push you away, not try to pull you in, not try to control everything else actually. That was a lesson yesterday. I was like, I'm going to stop trying to control even my family with play dates, all this stuff, and other people. I'm like, just let them do what they're going to do. I fulfill on my part, all good. And that's one of my gifts, is doing that. And one of the things I see most is that so many people are trying to control, not just themselves, but everything around them, and make it more comfortable and familiar, rather than actually looking at, am I safe? Are they safe? And if we are, then just let it be. Let people play, let kids play especially. Let kids play with less modulation, less rules, less intervention. And I think it's funny the things that are just coming up now. Even when I look at playing sports, the best sports that we love watching, the ones where it's interfered less by the referees unless it's really necessary. And the ones that get really frustrating is when it's constantly being interrupted and constantly watching the athletes play not for the love of the game, but playing for knowing how they can manipulate the referees. And that's our children. They're losing sight of the love of living versus how can they manipulate their parents. And so this is the part I'm going to try to take a look at as well. And there's many solutions that are proposed, such as the sovereign child I've been looking at. But again, my son is my greatest teacher. So all these little insights. Over the last 24 hours, I shifted from this daily musings to mirror work, which I'm really grateful for. I met with my founders team, which is awesome. And they're reminding me, yes, this is what you're here to do, Nick. How do you learn to provide even more value through doing this? And right now, this mirror work may not be the value yet. And I know it's moving me towards a value. I'm committing to 100 hours of this year. Not just this, but content in general. And it's not creating content to publish content to put it out there. It's creating content for me to practice creating content. And I realized today as I was walking around, so I have my daily musings even before the mirror work. That's just for me, just on audio. And I realized, oh, this is me opening, getting more clear of my channel. And if you want to talk about channeling, I see just as a direct line to the higher self, the guides, whatever else that I'm not actually thinking about what I'm saying it out loud, and then realizing, oh, that's what I just said, that's interesting. And there's so many different ways to do it. I love Daryl Anka and Bashar, in case you've never heard of him, his channeling. And I love that I was reminded from one of my earlier teachers, Sky, it's like every channel is in a way clouded by your own mind. Like there's a part where I may want to say it's a pure channel. It's like, I'm probably still in there, even just a little tiny bit. And so the more I practice, the better I'm clear on it. And then recognizing it's not the right answer. Even if I say something that feels so profound, and especially in the ceremony spaces, oh my God, I feel like I have such a profound insight. Everything is perfect. I want to scream it out to everyone. I'm like, oh my God, you've got to show this to like Elon Musk, Aubrey Marcus, everyone I look up to and know. And then I realize, wait a second, they don't need to hear this from me. In a way, they probably already know it, and it's an experiential thing. If the way to save the world was for me to scream that everything is perfect, in a way it probably already would have happened, or it's the simplistic childlike part of my mind versus, oh yeah, this is what we're coming here to realize. And every generation, like whenever we keep thinking, oh, we can solve this problem, it's like, no, it keeps evolving. Like that's that little child brain going, I think I can create this perfect state and my kids will be in this perfect state, versus they're going to be whatever state the world is in. Like when we look back sometimes, we think about the First Nations, like the world is probably pretty perfect for them then. And it kept evolving. And that's what it is. So taking a second again, taking a second just to be here. And it's seeing what the deeper layers are. This year, hiring probably up to like 3 coaches for myself, and unconventional and unexpected, and possibly all female this time first, at least for the first quarter, and just being deliberate about it. It's pretty cool, pretty exciting. And I'm noticing there's a part of me thinking I'm not doing enough work. That's a big piece. I'm not creating enough work. I'm not generating enough work. Like it's 2 months in the year and I haven't generated an actual soul immersion ceremony that I want to create. And the best thing about things right now with the founders is that I have Matt and Marika. And so I'm not abdicating the throne of marketing and sales. Rather, I'm learning, especially from Matt, how to embody it without trying to make the biggest thing, because I am thinking about sales all the time, thinking about marketing all the time. And now it's going over and over again. How do I deliver value? In every interaction, how do I deliver value? And noticing when I get to the point of being preachy or trying to tell or trying to convince or trying to sell, it's like, okay, is that what I really want to do? Is that how I want to do things, even if it can generate the sale? And then now part of it is just how to practice being more direct with my dear friends. It's being more direct, going, hey, my request is that you actually go to this website, you look at it, you see how it applies to you, you click on that start the journey button, you book a call, and you go through with it and see the value and what unfolds. What that will provide for me is real interaction, real feedback, and a real chance at connecting with someone who would be the perfect fit for our program. And whether you say yes or no is up to you. And whether you say yes or no, you'll be a much better advocate. Not just advocate, you'll be much clearer on what it is that I'm up to. And so when someone comes across your path, you'll know how to guide them to us, and you'll know how to guide us to be to make better bridges. And that's what I realized, we're just making bridges. How do we keep making bridges for people to go from having no idea who I am, who my team is, what we're here to do, to being so clear that they're clamoring to get in? And that's what I would love by the end of this year actually be sought after, because then we can change the paradigm of how we create things. Change the paradigm from applying to waiting lists to all that stuff. And that's what we want to do. Yeah, limited capacity this year is what we'll start with, and clear message and clear vision. And every week it feels like, weren't we already clear? And there's another layer of clarity. Like Ohana Sage, Awaken the Inner Sage. It's clear to me, and I know it's not clear to everyone else. Like it's awakening the inner sage, not that you are this person who suddenly knows everything, but you're so much clearer on who you are and connected to your own higher self, future self, that you have a better ability to discern what it is that's true for you, what path you actually want to choose. And for me, I'm noticing it especially. I love that wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that this is happening for me in a way. Like every challenging thing. And so yesterday, my beloved was upset at me for a moment, going, I wanted you to actually plan more of this Valentine's Day to make it more special, more of a surprise. And at first I wanted to go the old pattern where it's like, I'm triggered. Why are you doing this? Like, why are you upset? Like, let's just have fun. And it's like, no, she's literally trying to tell me what she wants. Maybe not in the way that I want to hear it, but in a way, if she could have said in a way that I want to hear it, and for me to hear it, it would have already happened because I would already be doing it. So in her frustration, she's saying the way that has worked before. And instead of repeating the similar pattern, I went to, okay, let's listen, let's actually do something about this, because I want to provide. And I think that's the piece that I'm appreciating, and I'm going to jump around because this is my mirror work. It's going to the Queen's Code, Alison Armstrong. She was reminding, like, men want to provide. They want to feel needed. They want to feel like a hero. And it's like, okay, I have a clear opportunity to do that. And I did. I played the stage so she could rest. I could actually go and start looking for restaurants. And I did. I found one, Chow Mami, I think it was called, which is really cool because it was Vietnamese, it was delicious, and it had mami in it. And we had a great meal, and it was special, and it was different. And we got to come together, and I'm grateful. So over and over, I think as I do the mirror work, what I'm inviting the energy of is the ability to see and be seen. And that's the thing, like I was talking to someone the other day who was, numbing themselves more. And I reminded, it's our inability to really want to see ourselves, like the fullness of ourselves, all the aspects of ourselves. And that's what I'm committed to, is seeing myself. And this is just a reflection of it, seeing myself. And as I see myself more, how do I become more clear? How do I actually start to notice the parts of my body? I'm like, okay, I'm actually looking at my nose more, going, that's what it looks like. A little crooked, a little low, a little big, if I want to say it that way. It could be the camera. And it's funny to imagine, hundreds of years ago, that it was a rarity for someone to be able to see themselves, because there's no such thing as cameras or mirrors. Like if you didn't have a still body of water, you couldn't see yourself. If you didn't have ice, you couldn't see yourself. It was this rare thing. And so what is our sense of self then? And that's the thing as well, is how do I provide for my child to find their sense of self in today's day and age, when there's so much seeing of self? Like, he's so used to seeing his picture and videos. He wants to see them. And and I love that when I was watching Tony Robbins, watching the little kid in front of the mirror dancing, going, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the strongest, or I'm beautiful, and noticing. And as I said that, it's funny, I went to comparison first. And the mirror work reveals. So I am still at the point where comparison is the way I'm looking. Not that I feel good about myself and how I look, but I'm comparing myself to, let's say, 100 random people, going, okay, I feel good compared to them. And the mirror work is here to reveal not what I want to be the truth, but I think what's behind there. And it's not that it's the truth, but it's what's there right now. And my desire is to shift from comparing to others to seeing for myself, because when I'm comparing to others, it's almost an anchor point. I can only go as high as I think the top person is. And even then, I feel like I can slow down as I'm getting up there, going, okay, I'm good. And I think what the key is for, let's say, for example, someone like Elon Musk, is he's not comparing to someone else going, oh, you consider me the richest man? I guess I should slow down now. And there is still probably a piece of that, because it slows down. So how do I both use that comparison, noticing it's still there, and then let go of it, because then it can be exponential change. And that's part of it right now. As I am saying that I'm not doing enough direct work, it's because I'm comparing myself to others. I'm watching and looking out there going, oh, these people are delivering so many ceremonies, so many things, and they're learning from it, and they're learning so quickly, and I'm not. And that is just another way. It's like, oh, I'm not taking this training, so I don't have this credential. Oh, or I'm not, there's always a not. Right now, what I'm practicing is living life the way I want to. Living life really the way I want to. And that means spending time with family when I'm with them, spending time recording when I'm recording, spending time with my founders when I'm with them. And I am working at letting go of the control of the external. Oh, how many people booked? Because it's going to happen. Rather, how do I look at what's underlying all this? How do I create the structures and the support in place? How do I have the clear conversations that want to and need to be had? With my family even, like, oh, we're looking at the retreats this year. How many are we going to create? How much time am I going to be away? How do I create it so it doesn't feel like I'm away for too long and it feels spacious on my side? In a couple weeks, I'll be going away for the first time this year, probably for a couple days. And it's going to be for this unconventional workshop, which I'm really excited about, actually. So I will go there and I'll deliver my breath in person. I'll get to meet with Judy and Mike and Marie and Jonathan and the rest of the team. And I get to see and unfold. And I get to stay with Brent. So there's a lot of things that are there. And we'll see what happens with it all. And I've shared it a little bit with the community. And I can share a little bit more too if I want to. Just continuing to deliver, continuing to deliver, continuing to deliver. And over deliver in value. And here in the mirror work, this is the value for myself. And I found a way I can deliver value to myself and potentially value to others. And I'll say it again, this is going to be part of my own generative AI. And I want to have that because I see that as being a way to summarize what's going on and a way to bring some consciousness to it. Ideally, by actually being as transparent as I can while I'm doing this training, which is really training myself as well. It's bringing them into my consciousness. And as I do that, in that consciousness, there'll be more than I can anticipate. It's more than just my words, my facial expressions, all that stuff. There's an energy behind it all, and a noticing of the energy behind it all. And I said this last time I recorded, part of me doing this is at some point, there will be people listening to this, and I may get feedback that will help me see the patterns I'm still doing and help others see the patterns that I've been walking through and moving through. Because there's the perfection of who I am, there's the humanness of who I am, there's the person I already am, there's the person I want to be, all rolled up into one. And the seeds are already planted. Like, I think sometimes we see the perfection in children because we can see the seeds that are planted of who they're going to be. And then they go through the journey to find it again. I like that story of, a master painter or artist, like, Picasso or something. They're saying it's like they first learned to paint perfectly as a child, and then they very quickly learned the styles of the masters, and then had to unlearn all of that to then be able to paint like a child, but not like a child at the same time, because it's the masterful childlike painting. And it's such a purity of it coming through because every stroke is both conscious and unconscious at the same time. And that's part of this. Every word is conscious and unconscious. And it becomes masterful truly when I'm both conscious. Okay, I can plan out a whole sequence of things, and then unconscious, and then I can let it go, and when it unfolds better than I could have imagined. And the feedback I receive is like, how did you know how to do that? And I'll remind them, I both did and didn't. Like, let's not pretend I didn't know and have people going, I'm just gonna ad-lib everything, and stop the pretending I did know, and then have to read off a teleprompter for everything. And I was listening to how people structure homework now. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much structure. The structure isn't bad. I feel just so anti-structure because I think I got structured in, when for me, it's the structuring out. It's like, all right, that's the framework that you can see. Let me show you the framework I can see. And if I can't explain it yet, invite me, guide me to be more clear on how to explain my framework. And if I still can't explain it, find me someone who can help guide me. Because it may not be the student, it may be the teacher. And that's a remembrance for me for this soul immersion. I'm not the teacher for everyone. And I want to keep coming back to that. I feel a little bit of a tingle in my left sternum as I say that. Coming back to see sensations, emotions, wants. So wants, so. And I went from sex, sensations, emotions, expectations. I wonder what C would stand for. Sensations, emotions, anger? I don't know. Part of it is noticing the sensations that come up. Every sensation, every bodily function is trying to serve me. Right now, my son is going through some really significant eczema, and we've been working through it differently and stepping outside of the normal paradigms while working with healthcare practitioners to make sure that we're doing this as safely as possible. How do we actually help him find the root cause of his healing? And in that, it's the reflection of the parents. How do I keep looking for my own root causes? What am I still imparting on doing? And how do I look at, and I was able to see some other parents, and yes, so as I say this, some of it's coming from judgment because that's still where I am. I'm working outside of it, practicing working outside of it. And it was noticing how some parents, they're so involved in their kids, so involved being there all the time, so involved in modulating what's going on and trying to teach them how to be a good human being, that I feel like the child has lost their sense of self and rather is trying to play the game to please the parent. And when watching that, they get confused and they're not developing at a normal rate for them, whatever that is, and we're all different. And then as I look at that and I notice that so strongly, the reflection for me is, how am I doing that? I'm definitely doing that with my own child, trying to praise them for certain things of, independence or speaking out or even like saying a few cuss words so properly. Like, it's so cool. And I am always going to influence him. And how do I subtract myself from the equation often enough so he sees who he is outside of me? And I think that part I'm doing better at. And I've been probably a little bit too present, not for my presence, but physically just being around, that I influence the dynamic. For example, yesterday, I was there while my beloved and our dear friend was there. They were talking about furniture and arrangement. At first I was listening and I was like, this is not where I want to be. So I went upstairs to do work, to get out of the space entirely, to get out of their way, to get out of that energetic so I can actually remove myself. And when I came back down, the whole living room was rearranged. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for that wisdom for me to get out of here, for them to have magic and for results to have happened. And I think that's my reminder right now as I look at the world and say, oh, I'm not doing enough. It's like, what I'm doing in a way is just getting out of the way of the world for a bit. And it's a reminder for me, even when I am very influential, or I think that I am, how do I get out of the way of the world a little bit sometimes? To step back and say, do less. Do less. What do I want my life to look like? And I was listening to Tony Robbins and reminded, because he was doing like, I can't remember, so like 200 days live a year, something else like that. And then with the pandemic and everything happened, he scaled back and was able to make, quote unquote, more impact with fewer days live and spend more time with family. It's like, that's what I want too. To have that impact increase and spend more time doing the things that I love still. Not that I don't love delivering. It's if it's the only love, that I'm creating that dependency of back and forth too. And I'm forgetting, how do I actually keep learning more, serving more in this way? How do I keep doing this, even amidst doing that? And eventually I may have a delay on this. I may not post this live every day. That may be the thing, like record it live and then have the team post it whenever they do. Have them bunch it up so that it doesn't all come out and have someone dependent on it all the time. All right. What else is there today? And I'm actually having fun doing these deeper dives because I'm recognizing more and more that this is less and less for everyone else. And how do I get more clarity? Like, there's things that I want to dive into: AI, health, juicing. So juicing, I've been juicing every day since I got the Nama J2 juicer. I've been loving it. I've been enjoying it, and it's fun. And the challenging part's getting enough great produce and feeling like I'm not spending a shit ton of money, and then want to explore more then. So, and then how to have enough fridge space, because it takes up a lot of fridge space. So that's all I can say about that right now. And I'm drinking all the juice that I want to. And thank you, Doreen, for guiding me towards this. And it's funny because I am a tinkerer in my own way. I recognize I don't follow prescriptions all the way. And that's my reminder too. I may become prescriptive in this soul immersion in this program. And my work is to both be prescriptive and then let go of what someone else does. And so replying to my dear friend Leon, because he sent me a message back saying, I didn't actually follow through with the breath. Thank you. Thank you for being clear. That's one of the things that I'm really grateful for, is he is clear. And I'll see how I'm not trying to capture him. Rather, I want to hear this because it's reminding me, where is it that I'm losing someone? Because there is a part that I'm losing someone. And probably the synchronicity of the music, the jankiness of it all. There's some people who really capture and some people won't. And I can warn them, remind them ahead of time. I can remind them every time it changes. Just feeling the feels. There's a feeling inside still, and there's that little piece I can feel heavier underneath of failing, of not doing enough. And that's a piece that I'm acknowledging right now, because as it sits there, unnoticed most of the time. It's only when something comes up that I feel like I failed, that it really gets triggered and takes over, and then I'm upset that it's there, and then I want to run away. And in this moment, I can have it be there and still be present with this mirror work. I'm looking forward to doing a live breath today, because that's where I get to really jump into my own medicine again as well. And sometimes I miss it. So I want to create more opportunities for that. And my vision, I'm still working on a clear vision that doesn't sound ridiculous, that isn't ridiculous 1,000 years from now. Whether it's so many people are awakening at their inner stage, like it just feels weird to say that. Parents that are alive, co-living spaces, like what is the overall impact that wants to be made? And I see some of this parallel with Elena DiMartini. She's looking at it this way as well. Looking at how do we make, in her case, it's I think the breakthrough experience, the DiMartini method, just a household thing. And I see it in the same vein of German New Medicine. It is effective, and it's so complex, it almost seems like right now, that I want to create something with more clarity and simplicity. It's probably why clarity is coming up and why simplicity kept coming up, and why the Ohana Brotherhood, one of our phrases for a year was strip things down. I mean, maybe that's my work, is taking these kinds of theories, these alternative right now theories of healing and health, and stripping it down. And the healing, the resolution of things, the improvement is usually when we're in the midst of the worst part of it. And so it's just getting the guidance and the support. Not a crutch, but a guide and a support. And I think that's that difference. We've gotten used to crutches versus a temporary guide and support, and saying, hey, it's okay to lean on this. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. And I love some of the concepts. Sustainable fair exchange has been a really cool one. And noticing for myself, I get in the place of scarcity as well, on the side when I'm paying usually, and paying for services, because it's hard for me. It's hard for me. Oh, just notice the subtlety. See, this is the work of mirror work. When I say it out loud, normally we want to say, oh, I didn't want to say that. I meant to say. But what I'm actually saying is what's actually going on. It's hard for me right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be hard for me forever. But that's the thing with one of the coaches. I'm like, oh, it's hard. And I thought of budgeting more. And it's hard because, like, how do I justify it to my beloved? And how do I actually deliver on receiving the coaching is what I'm scared of. I've already made the choice to ask them. Then I want to say, oh, can they deliver? It's not that, because it's not up to them to deliver. I've already chosen them. And how do I support people to see that when they choose us? You've already chosen us. Now you've done the hard work. And it's a joke, because the hard work is over and over again just to realize I've chosen them. How do I let go of trying to re-choose them? And the reason for creating the long container is that we want to create this flow where it becomes effortless, because then the real change happens. Not the real change, a more profound change can happen when someone has chosen a 6-month container, a 5-month container, a 4-month container, a container for themselves. I'm just remembering my time with Matthias DeStefano and Sedona, surrounded by 200 people at Fit for Service, Aubrey Marcus, Blue, Robert Grant, and all of my dear friends there, and just channeling this energy that could have exploded and instead was sent back and forth through time and in and out through myself to everyone else as well. And I think that's a piece, is how do we keep exchanging energy in the best way? And it's noticing for myself still, I've been teaching my son mind. Like that's daddy's thing, It's part of it is to, in my world, prevent him from breaking the thing right now, especially the thing that I see that I don't know how to replace, or I don't know how to control, other than saying mine and taking it away. And my beloved is much better at guiding more gently, more lovingly. And as we're balancing this, it's helping him to see, because I can see him hoarding his stuff, trying to protect it instead of enjoying it. And that's it for me too. And then he does the same thing as me. He wants to put it out of reach of other children. That's just another strategy. I don't know a better way right now with this technology. Part of it for me is to have a clear place to put it away when I come home instead of leaving it lying around everywhere, because that's part of what I do too. It's interesting. I can feel the edge right now of trying to push more into this versus actually let it be pulled out, of actually being clear, wanting to create a longer video. And that's okay. We're resetting my own normals. I'm stretching myself. Oh. And stretching my body, shifting my feet right now, one foot on top of the other. Okay. So there's trauma stored in this body, the way that I can see it. And there's always going to be, because I keep traumatizing and untraumatizing. That's just the stress. And how do I play with that from a new way? And how do I own it? And how do I get supported from it? And how do I remember that I don't need to do it all at once? It's a dance. In today's dance, what about this week? What can I acknowledge myself for this week? Well, my priorities were getting this website launched, which it has launched now. Getting the retreat website launched by the end of this month, and I can see the progress that's happening even without me doing, by being more clear of my ask and asking of the other founders to create it in conjunction with my dear friend Brent, and making sure that his voice is heard in it. And I'm going to keep layering on the clarity on both sides. Getting on this podcast that was referred by Elena, and again doing my part to remind. Supporting my beloved in her work right now, which I think I'm doing. I'm doing really well, actually. And then today specifically is a big anniversary for us. It's a 10-year anniversary of our dating, so I'm going to really see how we can celebrate her more. And then just taking pauses and being present. That's what I'm doing right now. This mirror work, in a way, until I close the mirror work, I can't help but be present, because I'm literally saying I'm going to look at myself. And I can see when I'm looking away versus looking at myself. And when I'm not looking at myself, what am I hiding from? What am I avoiding? What do I not want to see and be seen? And that's, I think, part of the awakening of the inner sage, is awakening that part of us that's willing to see not just others in a clearer light, but ourselves in a clearer light, myself in a clearer light, all of myself. And yes, I want to get to the point where I'm loving it all, but first, can I see it? Awareness. Ika kala makia manawa, aloha mana pono malu. I'm awareness, I am freedom. I am here, I am now. I am love, I am strength, I am goodness, I am peace. I love that phrasing that came up from my dear friend Wayne when we were learning the Lomi Lomi massage. And I'm learning more Hawaiian culture. I totally believe that one of my places is going to be in Hawaii. It's funny that my brother was born there. It's funny that my parents went there for residency. Like, of all places, why there? Planting the seeds. And perhaps that's where we go this year. Perhaps that's where we go after we go to the US. I think that's probably one of the easiest places to go. And see, because it's warm, it's lovely, it's a direct flight. It's out of this country. Yeah, there's so many things there. And Japan. Oh, cannot wait to go to Japan. And that's part of it. It's like, how do I live my life? And that's the thing. I had to leave Western medicine. Less so, probably because like I may not agree with all of it now, but more so because it was disconnecting me from being able to be me and seeing myself. I was trying to get everyone else's approval all the time. That's part of it. That's part of the trap of it now, is all of it is trying to get the approval of people you look up to And you get so caught up in that eventually you lose sight of what is the message I actually believe in. Am I actually looking at things? And that's what helped me even in this world of the esoteric, is when someone reflected back to me, it's like, those weren't your words you said, Nick, that was someone else's. I was like, that was. And now, how do I have the humility to guide people to say their own words? And I'm getting better at that. And that's part of my greatest gift, is both to be super powerful as me and super powerful, not trying to overpower someone else to become me. And that's part of it for us as the three-legged stool for the founders. And I appreciate Marika especially coming back to saying, hey, Nick, we need to get clear and get in alignment. And my work will be, yes, we want to be in alignment, and it will feel like it's out of alignment at times too, because for me, I can always see how we're dancing in alignment. And sometimes it will feel like it's a little janky because we're actually finding the ways to work better. It's both perfect and we're finding ways to work better. And the way it feels out of alignment helps us to see the ways to work better. So part of it every now and then is I get scared. Yesterday morning I woke up, I was like, oh, everything's gonna be fucked up already. And then I realized this is a familiar feeling, and how would I hide normally or try to distract? And these days I'm doing less of that. Even now, this morning, it's going back into bed and saying, oh, I need to rest more. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I want to rest when I need to rest, and no in the sense that when I have that first impulse to wake, let's wake up and get out of bed. Because that's my practice now, is actually stepping into the vitality of who I am and resting in the vitality of who I am. And I'm getting more and more support from my beloved to do that, because she's helping me to see, and I'm helping her see that when I do that, I'm actually stepping into the fullest version of myself. I can go, 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 and I can rest, rest, rest. And she's playing such a beautiful role to support me in that. All of this, like the freedom, the monetary freedom even, I'm so grateful for it, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here investing in myself fully, being like, okay, we got a buffer. We have a strong buffer, which we're really lucky. Really lucky, and we want to keep that buffer. It really helped remind me, it's like, don't invest that buffer right now. Invest the stuff in the TFSA, the RRSP still. Don't invest the buffer right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And letting go of even the right ways to invest before. I do appreciate Tony Robbins and his unshakable belief in himself. And again, his company is one of the ones that, without the founder, is really at risk. And that's a piece. It's funny, the things I keep saying, like, oh, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, everything's gonna be okay. Not that I want to get hit by a bus, but how do I live like that and keep growing Ohana sage like that and notice? So, for example, Matt said something yesterday. It's like, oh, what's the best way to promote ourselves? And he went first to what Marika could do. And I can't even remember what it is because my mind's already blacked it out. And there's a part of me going, oh, I want it to be me. And I was like, no, I don't want it to be me. And I want it to be me. I want to do my part. And this is part of it, to keep growing this. And then let go of needing to be part of it. Like, part of this I can see is like the Alan Watts legacy. Like, his legacy is all these videos now, which are so clear. Like, it's so funny to hear him now. And it's working beyond his mortal life. I remember hearing from someone that he was an alcoholic, and it's like, okay. And it's funny because it could be a way to dismiss someone. It's the same thing I heard about someone else who's alive, so I won't say that about him right now. And then I'm like, that doesn't change who they are, and that's someone else's perception of them as well. And what are the demons that they're fighting and numbing against? And it's helping remind me that my highest, that's why my highest value is my own consciousness, my own existence, my own life, my own joy, because that's what I want this world to be for me this time. And that's what I'm trying to teach others. Closing out now. Ciao for now.